Hello and welcome to a video that's taken me months to create. The finale of building Theed. Let's get into it. Sorry for being so serious there, I just wanted to make a nice dramatic intro. Yeah, Theed's done, you can see it in its mighty tan and green glory. I'm speechless with how happy I am with how this has turned out. I think this is, without a doubt, probably the best thing I've made to date. I love it. I love everything about it. I think it took me so long to make. It's cost me more than I'd ever like to say. But in the end, I'm super proud I did it, and I'd definitely do it again. There's obviously changes that I'd make if I were to tackle this again. But yeah, I'm still just generally really happy with how this has turned out. This mock took me 13 weeks of building episodes. It didn't take me 13 weeks to build. This has been done for a couple of weeks. As you know from me already releasing the Clone Wars version of this. That was basically a Battlefront 2-esque inspired version of this scene. The link to a full cinematic video of that is in the description if you want to see that version. This is my episode 1 version, which I've mainly been focusing on in the building series updates. But yeah, let's do a good old walkthrough of it. I'm super happy with how this has turned out, and I want to show it to you all. We can start off in this back corner over here, where you see we have a couple of Naboo security guards and officers and pilots in this group heading into the battlefield. I don't want to go too in depth about all of the details going on here, because I just want to mainly explore the scene, because all of the details are shown in all of my building series updates. If anything particularly stands out to me, I'll let you know, like how happy I am with my favourite thing about these podiums. Well, I love tons of things about them. I love the flower bed and how that turned out. I love even just this little type thing, even though it was so simple to build. But I really like the sides of these, and these are degreed, detailed 360 degrees on all 4 sides. I can't, yeah, it's just dark if I show you there, but it is all detailed. And it is seen in the building episodes. Anyway, if we move along, or just behind, you can see that we've got quite an empty spot here. That's because this was initially where the flash speeder was supposed to go, before I realised that it was too big with these plants on, so that's why I moved it to the centre. But that's okay. It means I was able to lovely fit in something I mentioned that I do, I think it was in episode 1 or 2, and where I mentioned that I put an explosion in the mock and have Jar Jar blowing up in it. So that's quite fun. I decided to do that. You can see you've got tons of plant details, some nice intricate stuff with that. And that I really love the plants, how they gave like a final little bit of colour to the final mock, because otherwise it was like kind of just like tan buildings with some green on it. But yeah, these really helped. Moving along, we can see we have our main flash speeder. This was what actually began the building series. It was the thing I bought in episode 1 that made me want to get the set, because I love the figures in it so much and I really like the build. And it's here now. It's probably a bit oversized for the final scale of Theed, but you know, what can you do? So we've got a couple of more officers in there, and there's a guy, a Gungan even, jumping off Mad Max style onto this droid over here. He's also fending off a couple more Gungans there. On the edge of this, we've got a couple more Gungan warriors, and a couple dead ones being led by Captain Tarples here. Say hello to the dude. I love that figure. It's probably my favourite Gungan of the scene. He's beating up this droid over here. You can see actually what I've done, which I thought was quite clever, was I've got a ton of knockdown droids around this flash speeder, as if it's basically just mown through them all. But what that's actually able to do is lift it up, so it kind of looks like it's floating, as a flash speeder would. So I think that's quite clever, and I'm happy with how that turned out. Moving along, we've got like a huge battalion of droids facing off against the flash speeder. This section isn't that interesting. It's basically the same as this, just with droids on it. That was the thing with Theed, is that it's quite symmetrical, basically down the middle, besides the figures. That's why I had to do some randomizing with like the plants and like the different, like using bricks and mixing up how the tiles worked and things like that to kind of differentiate it a little. Moving back over here, you can see I have two custom droidica made by someone whose name I've forgotten, so it's on screen. And I'm pretty happy with how they've turned out. They look pretty great. Behind them is a custom AAT. It's not really a custom AAT, it's basically just the 2015 one. And all I've done is change all of the colours to dark grey and light bluish grey. Dark bluish grey and light bluish grey, that's what I meant to say. Basically because I didn't want another tan thing on top of all the tan already going on. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this ended anyway. Moving up from there, we have our first tower and, well, I guess upper platform level. Up here you can see a Naboo security officer is being blasted off with some lightning. We'll have to see who's in there later. And then you can see one of my least favourite parts of this whole mock probably is how the roofs on top of the towers turned out. I basically just kind of completely ran out of sand green. But if we just leave it at this level, it's not too bad. And you can see we've got a nice bird up in here, and this is probably my favourite part of the flowers in the whole mock. I really like how pretty all of that's turned out there. That's another thing I kind of didn't really do that well, was detailing these walls. But no one sees them, so that's okay. Going down, you can see we have our droid commander looking onto the battle and realising it's not going too well. Surrounded by some more droids. These water fountains also gave a similar bit of colour. I don't know if you can tell, but I really like adding just small dots of colour to my mocks. And I'm really happy with how these turned out. I've also put some gold on Theed, if you can see, just every now and again. There's a bit of gold. Oh, can you see who's in there? Maybe a little. Yeah, anyway, moving around, we've got some more plants to dodge by. I promise you this side's better lit, but you know. And we come to our main section of Theed. This is basically the center point of the whole thing. When you look at it, your eyes are like immediately drawn to this section here. We've got my stairs, which are built in quite a random way, just using random tiles and bricks and plates and whatnot. I don't know if I mentioned before, but this entire road is constructed via snot. And you probably know what snot is by now, but obviously that stands for studs not on top. So I basically built a giant wall and just moved it onto the side in here. As you can see, those are basically those masonry bricks stacked on top of itself, placed on their side. And I think they create a really nice, smooth look to this. And they're a lot cheaper than doing it by tiles. So, you know, I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, moving back to this section, sorry, getting away with myself. There's a Gungan battling two droids on the stairs. And next to them are these statue type things, which I think have turned out excellently, if I do say so myself. I had a lot of time basically figuring out a design for those, but I'm really happy with the one I ended up with. And I'll probably keep one of those once this mock eventually is demolished, just as kind of a memory of the whole thing. Besides all of like the figures and stuff and the videos, but just as a simple tower, just one of these. They pull off nicely. You know, just this type of thing. Awesome. Because we've got the main temple itself. And I'm really happy with how the front of this came off. Turned out even. If you go back in my building series, this was actually my second design for my temple. My first one was much smaller, only fitting in like just this tiny section. And it didn't look that great or that accurate. This version is much better and much more accurate. It's got these nice little statues in the top, and you can see there's like another door on the inside made through some very intricate building techniques. If I can get it lit nicely, there you go, kind of. And it's also got a kind of curved roof, although, as I said before, I'm completely out of sand green, but I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Moving back through this side, you can see a slightly barer wall. I should have probably put some detail here, but what can you do? Yes, anyway, around here we've got the main person leading this assault, leading from behind, basically, because there wasn't really anywhere else I could put them besides on the flash speeder, which didn't make much sense to me. You can see there is a purist custom Padme Amidala, if it would love to focus on you. There you go. Basically using a couple of like Dumbledore pieces and just like a random female face. And that's Captain Panaka, just behind them. And they've got a couple more security guards with some recognisable faces, if you look at those. Don't know why I did that, just for something quite cute. Anyway, going back up this tower, we've got some more plant details. And then right beside this tower, you can see we've actually got Rako Hardeen here, or Obi-Wan bounty hunter version. Basically, the reason I did that was because that is a scene from the Clone Wars set on Theed. And I thought, if I'm having these towers, I might as well pop him in there, just for something cool. But yeah, there'll be a couple more direct references to that arc on the inside if you want to stick around for that. Although before we show you the backside, I wanted to show you my transformation feature to get there. If you didn't realise, there's a couple of cracks along Theed. You can see that this section here is a bit looser than the rest. And following down the centre line, there's a clear gap going through the bottom of the mock, only held on by this tile. When that is removed, I can move up here and just take off the roof first. That has to be taken off. I can then very simply wobble this back and forth, pull out this section. Now you can see the door a lot better. That comes out as well. And then all you have to do is grab a side and pull away. I'll start the backside view of the entire mock basically by showing off the the bit you've already seen. As I mentioned before, we've got Rako Hardeen. You can pull him out. Up here, aiming out, trying to... He's hit the deck and he's hit the floor. Basically, imagine him there. He's just in this like top storeroom, pointing out at the, well, it's supposed to be Chancellor, but there's nothing else really going on there. But as you can see, this room has been very simply designed, just through adding in a couple of boxes, really. So it's nice and simple, but I just wanted to pay homage to that scene because I really like that episode and that whole arc, really. But anyway, if we head down there, we can see we've got another little scene. I've just got some wall detailing in this corridor area, basically, because I didn't have anything else to put in here. But I basically wanted to recreate a scene from the same episode as the Rako Hardeen stuff, where Anakin and Dooku are dueling, and there's this great moment where Anakin like forces a chair into Dooku, and Dooku forces a chair into Anakin and he stabs his lightsaber straight through it. I didn't recreate it that well because these whole back sections kind of was when I became really low on parts, especially these corridor bits, so they don't look great and they're mainly just like minifigure displays more than anything. But you know, you get what you can. Below that, we have our first underground room, and I'm guessing that you can't see much in there at the minute, really at all, so I'm gonna play some footage over this right now of what this looked like when the roof's off. So basically you can see in here, this is Naboo, the Hangar Bay. So I've got a couple of pilots shooting out against some security droids, which looks quite good. I like my back wall and how like almost cartoony it looks, because it shows that that's supposed to be a window into the outside despite it being made out of bricks. And I like my back walls as well, and the floor even. I just like it. It's a cute little almost like a mini mock in itself, and I'm pretty happy with it. And as I said, this whole scene is, well, this whole mock really is somewhat based off episode 1. I thought I'm probably better to cover the most iconic scene of episode 1. I think it's the most iconic scene. The Duel of the Fates. As you can see here, if I lift off this roof, you can see it a little bit clearer as the sun gets in a bit better. Not the sun, the light. Yeah, as you can see, I've got basically like a cutout halfway of the room. I've taken the scene where Obi-Wan's hanging on to the edge. Qui-Gon's just been killed, and Darth Maul is, almost say Darth Vader, Darth Maul is quite happy about it, and he's just standing there. Pretty glad of how this scene came out. It's a bit simple, I know, using these stickered panels, but I like how it came out. Yeah, pretty proud of it. Anyway, moving on. Moving on from that, we have our second hallway section. This one, again, from the same Clone Wars episode as this and that. So still haven't put them back yet. This is the part where basically Cad Bane and a bunch of other bounty hunters have dressed up or like morphed themselves into Senate commandos, and I can't remember, one of them turns into Palpatine, but I don't know which one. His face is truly terrifying. I know Mace Windu's also there, so he's fighting off Cad Bane and Embo there. Yeah, again, this is more minifigure display than it is actual anything to show off, because there's nothing really there. There is stuff there, however, in this bottom layer. You can see it a little bit better than the other one, but once again, I will show you it with the roof off in better lighting. That one didn't have the minifigures in though, so I'm just going to show you. We've got Panaka, some kind of purist Queen Amidala, although it doesn't look great there. And then just a battle droid and Nute Gunray, because I had to put them in the mock somewhere. So this is how the room's supposed to look like. Basically, I've got a nice big window in the back with a similar wall design. Again, it looks a little bit cartoony, but I kind of like the look. I've got a nice couple of chairs and a big table in the middle. And I really like the dark orange that I put into the walls for this room, and the door design as well with the lights. I think it's another just neat little room, and I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Anyway, moving up from that once again, we have the final room of Theed. Darth Jar Jar! A lot of people noticed this guy in my 501st version of this mock, so I thought might as well show him in again. I've given him lightning this time, and he's seen the Naboo pilot who's caught him, so he's teaching him what's what. By that I mean just murdering him. Don't know, just thought I had to put something else in the top of the other tower, and this was the last thing I could think of, so I'm pretty happy with it. Let's do our wrap up of Theed. And there we have it. There's Theed. Hang on, what's that shadow doing over there? It's my Naboo Starfighter, which I forgot to put into the mock until now, which I bought like weeks ago and like paid a lot of money for, so I kind of wanted to use it. In hindsight, it is quite big, but basically what I did to try and avoid that was basically, instead of like having it flying over like this area where I had it before, I kind of wanted to put it like away from the mock, so you kind of get like a forced perspective type thing. Not really, but you know, so it kind of looks further away. But I like how that looks, how it's like flying into the droids. So I just wanted to show that off as well. But yeah, that's Theed. I hope you like it. I spent a good amount of time on it, so and I'm as I've said before, I'm super happy with how this has turned out. And thank you all to everyone who's watched even one episode of Theed, even 10 seconds of an episode of Theed, and especially thank you to those who have been here from the beginning, those who've, even if you haven't been here from the beginning, if you've just watched every single episode of Theed, thank you so much. It means the world to me and more that people want to watch me put tan bricks together. It's a bit more in depth than that, but you get it. But yeah, this is Theed, and I'm super happy with how it's turned out. So yeah, if you like this mock, if you like this series, like the video, that's what the like button's for. Comment your favourite part of the mock generally, and I'm not done with Theed. Theed is not going to be my ending. I'm going to have some stuff coming up next. Leave a comment on what you think my next mock might be. Most of you will probably already know what it is because I've spoiled it in a ton of live streams. But yeah, let me know if you've got any inkling on what that might be. And subscribe for more builds just like this. Not just like this. I'm not going to build Theed again. Oh, I might end up building Theed again, but not for a long time. At least, definitely not at this scale again. Probably much smaller. Or much larger. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just completely run out of words. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And bye.